this is reporter Julie Spencer, and I'd like to welcome you to Newsline, Iowa City. Please join me today as we take a trip to Iowa City's new state-of-the-art water treatment plant located off Dubuque Street. Iowa City Water Superintendent Ed Moreno will show us how this new treatment plant purifies our drinking water as he takes us on a tour of the facility.
In Iowa City, the water plant is brand new in a sense. It went online in 2003. And at that time, after probably 10 years of planning and construction projects, we transformed water quality in Iowa City. So the job that we do here is we look after the health and the public safety of Iowa City. And we do that by treating the water, making it safe, providing it in quantities and pressures that will serve every household in Iowa City and also provide fire protection. How we do that is water from sources on the plant site. They call it the Waterworks Prairie Park. And also there's another well field that is south of here we call the Peninsula site, which is the Peninsula Park. And on those there are 5 different sources that we can take water from and blend it in to treat it. The primary source that we use is called alluvial water. It's taken from collector wells, and they're very special types of constructed wells that allow us to take large quantities of water from the alluvial sands, naturally filtered from the Iowa River, and use it as our source. The biggest change that we made from the old plant to the new plant is in our raw water source. So initially, at the old plant, our raw water source was the Iowa River. We took it in direct. And you all know the Iowa River. It's very dynamic. It can change a lot with respect to how dirty it is and also contaminants that are in it. So we get a very consistent, high quality water coming in. It looks like this every day, and that's what we get to start out with. Okay? From there, we take the water and we send it through our treatment train, our treatment process. So the process starts with aeration. And the water is taken and aerated so that any gases that are in the water can be dispelled. Anything that might be dissolved is taken out. From there it goes into a softener, and that is lime softening. We take the hardness of the water and virtually cut it in half. In that process, again, I brought another sample. This is kind of what it looks like in the process. And you can see there's clear water on top and there's hardness, lime softened hardness in the bottom. It mixes up like this, and then eventually it settles down, and we take that clean, clear water on top. And we take that and we adjust the pH. So the pH on this is about 10.5. The pH is adjusted back down to about 9.3, and that's called the recarbonation process. From there, the water goes to filters, and these filters are like giant Brita filters. So they are the same media that you would see in a Brita filter. It's called granular activated carbon. They're big, and what they do is they take the water and they remove any particulates and also absorb anything that might be dissolved in the water, like say some organics or say some taste and odor precursors. So just like a Brita filter, it polishes the water, makes it taste really well. From there, the water goes into a channel that kind of serpentines back and forth, and that channel is very important because at that time, as it goes through there, there's a detention time. This amount of time it goes through there is important because we have injected chlorine, which is a disinfectant at the beginning of that, and it has to stay in contact with the water at a certain concentration for a certain amount of time to guarantee the bacterial and viral safety of that water. So although our water is great coming in, this water treatment plant is actually designed for surface water, which is one of the 5 sources that we could bring in. We're not doing it right now, but we could. And so that process guarantees that if, say, a protozoan type cyst comes in, either Cryptosporidium or Giardia, or a virus, that we can inactivate it through the treatment process. From there, the water goes into some storage. There's about 2 million gallons of underground storage here on the plant site, and then to a clear well. And in that clear well, it's just another kind of storage tank. It's a little smaller, deeper, and what it does is it allows us to put or to store water that's flowing through the process, and we have high service pumps, high pressure pumps, that then take that water and lift it and pressurize it and deliver it to the water mains in the city of Iowa City. There are two large transmission mains, 30 and 24-inch mains. They go east and west. They kind of go from this plant site, which is north of I-80. They go south, and then they split at Foster Road, and one goes west and one goes east, and they deliver water to our distribution system that is already existing. So all of these changes, the raw water source, the treatment process, these large transmission mains, and some improvements out in our distribution system, our pumping stations, all occurred in about 10 years, just prior to 2003, and that is your water system in Iowa City. So we're going to walk down the hall here. This is the administrative office area, and we're going to go into the treatment process. We're going to make the transition from administrative to more like industrial process area. Now here you can see all the windows that you can see from the interstate, the large windows, and they look in on the primary treatment process that we have, which is a lime softening tanks. What we have here are 3 tanks. Each one of these tanks is a treatment process. Each one can produce approximately 6.7 million gallons a day. So if you add those up, it equals approximately the 16.7 million gallons that is the capacity of this plant. They're 30 feet high and they're 60 feet in diameter. So they're huge, and each one holds over 100,000 gallons of water. But that water is going through it and being processed. And that's our treatment, our primary process. From this vantage point, you can look out on the plant site, and these are the lagoons that are holding the lime residual solids that I talked about. And the buildings that you see out there are our well houses. This is a passive park. It's not only a park, but it's also a wellhead protection area. It is designed to be passive because we don't want any activities here that could potentially contaminate the water source for Iowa City. This here is the first process. This is the head tank. And this here is the softener, and you can see the water being processed in here. With the cloudiness that you're seeing there is the lime solids, and they are settling out. The clear water on top is going across the weirs there, and from there it's going to the recarb and then on to the filters. So that's fairly clear water right there that has been settled out, the hardness has been settled out. This is another unit that is similar, and you can see also, and if you look here you can see a light, and you can see it down there, and how clear the water is coming off of this treatment process and how clean. We'll talk a little bit about the distribution system in the control room. Hey guys, come on. This is the control room. This is a totally automated process. There are multiple computers out in the system that feed information into the main computers here. We visually see what's going on throughout the treatment process, all over in this plant and also in the distribution system.
And we're doing the taste panel today. Get samples from different places in the distribution system, and we taste it and see if there's anything that we need to tweak, I guess, in the operation.
Very good.
Yeah, we kind of use the taste panel to adjust the chemical dosages or the well blends and things like that.
Okay, so which is which? Which is A and?
Today we've got 2 samples, and the red cup is sample A, and the blue cup is sample B. And they're from 2 different sites in
They will be
Iowa City.
identified later.
Identified after the feedback is in.
I'll have a sample. Thank you. Ready, Dave?
Nope, sorry.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Can you explain the process? I wish you smelled it first. Can you explain what you're doing while you're not?
Well, I just smell to get a sense of the odor before I put it in my mouth, and that way we have taste and mouth feel, odor, and so I just smell it first to get a sense of the odor before I taste it, because we have separate classes. We classify it separately, and we have mouth feel as well.
How's it taste?
It tastes very, very good. Very neutral. No chlorine smell or taste to me.
I concur. I think it's odorless, and it's refreshing. It's a little drying on the tongue, a little bit is what I'm noticing. I don't know what you guys are saying. We all give our opinions, and you know, we're all a little different.
Randy scored.
Yeah.
And then Randy kind
There's
of
somebody you agree with him on
Yeah,
that.
Little
I've been
dry.
outruled the last 2 weeks.
and then
When we designed the water system improvements, what we did is we projected out 20 years into the future. So this plant is designed for 16.7 million gallons a day as a capacity. Currently, we average about 6 million gallons a day. So as you can see, we have capacity to expand into our future. So as far as the design of this, we looked back at what were the issues with respect to water quality and safety, and we're heavily regulated by the Environmental Protection Agency and their state organization, the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. So there's a lot of testing that occurs in the treatment plant to make sure that we're on track and that everything is within parameters and is safe. So when we designed this plant, we looked ahead to the future not only of how much water we need to provide for the community, but what the regulations might, how the regulations might change. And that's why this plant is designed for surface water. It's a very well designed plant, and it is designed for the future. So as far as expansion is, if the city, as the city continues to grow, we may need to expand, but I think that's a ways out. And as far as improvements for water quality, I think we're pretty set right now because of the design considerations that we put in place in the beginning in our planning for the construction.
This program has been produced for Channel 18, PATV, Iowa City.